At Texas Roadhouse in Horseheads, employees work very hard to keep up with the high standards, and that means making everything on site.
Everything you do in there affects the whole line, from cutting to spec to the finished product going out to the guests.
Everything is made from scratch.
Roadhouse doesn't open till 4 o'clock every day, not because they don't serve lunch, but because they're spending that time making everything for the dinner rush.
You think that hand-cut steak was trimmed just for you? What if I told you it was sliced, sealed, and shipped from a factory weeks before it ever hit your plate? The truth is, that shiny hand-cut label might be the restaurant world's version of stage lighting, bright enough to distract you from what's really happening behind closed doors. Stay with me, because we're pulling back the curtain on how one of America's favorite steakhouses engineered the illusion of freshness. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. You might picture a butcher at the back trimming your steak to order, but the knife never even touches the meat in that kitchen. The whole idea of hand-cut is built to sound old-fashioned.
Out of In Your Shoes, and this time I'm tackling Texas Roadhouse. They're gonna teach me how to cut a prime rib the proper way. All right, the final and best step is getting to enjoy the meal. So I'm gonna bring it out to the customer. And then I'm gonna be able to cook one of these bad boys.
Like there's someone in an apron working carefully on each ribeye just for you. It plays into that nostalgia for the neighborhood steakhouse, the one where the butcher knows your name and each cut looks a little different because it was done by hand right before you sat down. Texas Roadhouse leans hard on that image. It's not just a selling point.
At Texas Roadhouse in Horseheads, employees work very hard to keep up with the high standards, and that means making everything on site. 2 minutes and 35 seconds aside, and then on the plate it goes. Add some sides, and there it is.
You know, everything that we prepare from scratch. So just like you cut meat today, we do that with everything. We make our salad dressings, croutons.
It's the foundation of their promise that you're getting something crafted, not processed. But the reality undercuts that story. The truth is, most of those steaks are sliced long before they reach the restaurant. They're trimmed and portioned in bulk at centralized facilities, vacuum-sealed in plastic, and sent out across the country.
Everything is made from scratch.
Roadhouse doesn't open till 4 o'clock every day, not because they don't serve lunch, but because they're spending that time making everything for the dinner rush. Now, the fun part. At a restaurant as big as Texas Roadhouse, everything is timed out to the second. But I didn't come to cook, I came to cut. And for proper training, I go to the main man when it comes to meat for the entire Empire State.
That aging they mentioned doesn't happen in a cool back room under watchful care. It happens in cold trucks while the meat sits on its journey to your table. The goal isn't flavor, it's logistics. A steak designed for transport, not tenderness. Inside those processing hubs, workers handle thousands of cuts a day, each one tagged, sealed, and boxed for shipment. Every steak hits the grill looking exactly like the next, and it's that sameness the chain counts on.
Guzman's a great teacher, though. He teaches all the managers that we train for our market, which is New York State.
Yep, you heard right.
Everything you do in there affects the whole line, from cutting to spec to the finished product going out to the guests.
When Texas Roadhouse employees need to learn to cut, they come to Horseheads to learn from this guy, Andres Guzman.
Employees who've worked the line describe their role less as butchers and more as grill operators. They're heating portions, not crafting meals. It's the same trick grocery stores pull with their fresh, prepackaged cuts. Convenience disguised as care. All that sealed time under plastic affects the meat's bite. Oxygen loss dulls its color and texture.
Where all the magic happens. What's your favorite part about cutting?
The end result in every steak is I see it go into the pan and knowing that it's going to go on somebody's plate and it looks pretty and
I let Andres take over. I'll stick to news.
Every ounce counts.
So the next step is I'm gonna put on the gloves, sharpen up the knife. Well, it's already sharp. All I gotta do is dig right in.
Leaving that familiar good enough chew we've been taught to accept. You think you're paying for craftsmanship, but what you're really funding is efficiency with a side of storytelling. Now that the illusion of craftsmanship is clear, let's look at how the environment itself pushes that belief even deeper. Before your steak even arrives, the real show's already started, and it isn't happening on the grill. The music, the chatter, the baskets of piping hot rolls, they're all part of the experience, but not the way you think. Every detail in that dining room is engineered like theater lighting, designed to make you feel comfortable, entertained.
It's good eating and it's quality. Ribeye starts here. This is a strip end. Then you go to your chuck side.
The toughest part is making sure the cut is straight. I also have to hit the right weight. Goose gave me a rundown before starting out. Once the meat is unpacked, a quick wipe down and it's ready.
And just distracted enough not to notice what's missing from your plate. Let's start with the rolls and the peanuts. On paper, they look generous. Complimentary snacks create an easy sense of welcome, but they also serve three quiet purposes. They fill you up before the pricey part of the meal lands. They buy time when the kitchen's backed up. And they build trust by making you feel like you're already getting value. According to industry research, those peanuts cost about $2 a pound in bulk. Cheap patience management disguised as tradition. There's another layer to it: taste manipulation. Sweet, buttery rolls flood your mouth with sugar and fat, while salted peanuts dry it out. After that 1-2 punch, the steak tastes richer than it really is. It's culinary sleight of hand. You're primed to like whatever comes next. The atmosphere works the same way. The loud music and the crunch of shells underfoot create what's called controlled chaos. That scattered mess blurs the line between casual and careless, lowering your expectations of cleanliness while turning the noise into energy. Former staff have described training that focuses on keeping guests upbeat, singing, moving, smiling, even when service slows. It's distraction as strategy. And the wait is part of the plan. The longer you linger, the more drinks you order, the more invested you feel in the night. By the time your steak arrives, the seasoning, thick, salty, uniform, masks whatever the meat lacks in texture. The entire sensory orchestra, peanuts, rolls, seasoning, noise, exists to fill gaps where quality falls short. After seeing the play behind the meal, the last question is what this means for you and your wallet the next time you crave steak. The hand-cut claim isn't a promise of freshness. It's a marketing illusion that turns logistics into theater. Once you understand how the game really works, you'll never see those buckets of peanuts the same way again. Real quality isn't in the slogan on the menu, it's in the marbling, the details about aging, and whether the source is clear instead of hidden behind branding. When you start demanding that transparency, the industry changes. If this gave you something to chew on, like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets.